The news out of Huntsville has once again shaken the online community. After months of speculation, court filings, and endless back-and-forths on social media, it appears that Melody Shari has officially come out victorious in the defamation lawsuit filed against her by blogger Anthony Lofties, also known as AL. What started as a simple online fallout between a public figure and a content creator has now turned into a full-blown court case, one that ended in Melody's favor. And for fans who have been following the drama closely, this verdict feels like both a closure and a wake-up call about just how messy things can get when social media conflicts turn into legal battles. For anyone who hasn't been keeping up, the situation began when Melody and the blogger were said to have had a working relationship of some sort. It wasn't exactly friendship, but there was communication and a sense of cooperation between them. Over time, though, things reportedly went sour. Melody allegedly made statements that the blogger claimed were false and damaging to his reputation. These statements allegedly made their way into her online conversations and possibly her live videos. The blogger took offense, arguing that the remarks hurt his business, his YouTube channel, and even his bakery. Feeling that his name had been tarnished, he decided to take legal action against Melody, suing her for defamation in a case worth around $6,000. Now, $6,000 might not sound like a lot compared to celebrity lawsuits that involve millions, but the real story wasn't about the money, it was about principle. It was about setting a record straight, about one person claiming that their name had been damaged, and about another defending their right to speak freely. The lawsuit itself became a point of major conversation in the love and marriage, Huntsville community because it involved one of the show's biggest names. Fans were divided. Some sided with Melody, saying that the blogger had been relentless and unfair toward her. Others took the blogger's side, arguing that he was simply exercising his right to report on public figures. But in the end, the law spoke, and Melody Shari walked away with the win. Reports claim that the judge ruled in her favor, dismissing the defamation claim against her. Whether it was a technical dismissal or a full ruling in Melody's favor isn't entirely clear yet, but what is known is that she was not found liable for any wrongdoing. For Melody, that's a major relief. For the blogger, it's a loss that probably feels heavy not just because of the outcome, but because of what it represents. Defamation is one of the hardest things to prove in court. It requires the plaintiff, in this case, the blogger, to show that the defendant made false statements that directly caused them financial or reputational harm. It's not enough to say, they said something bad about me. You have to prove that what was said was false, that it was said with malicious intent, and that it led to real damage. And that's where many of these cases fall apart. The burden of proof is high, and judges often throw out defamation suits when there isn't enough concrete evidence. In Melody's case, it seems that's exactly what happened. The court didn't find enough to rule against her, and just like that, the case was done. This case shines a bright light on the complicated world of social media, reality television, and personal boundaries. Melody Shari has dealt with public criticism for years. Being on Love and Marriage, Huntsville means living your life in the spotlight, where every word, every post, every reaction can be turned into content. Bloggers, YouTubers, and online commentators have made entire platforms based on dissecting the actions of public figures like her. Sometimes it's fair discussion, and sometimes it crosses the line into personal attacks. And when that happens, it's not surprising that tensions rise. But taking it to court changes everything. In 4 months, fans watched the tension between Melody and this blogger unfold. The situation became one of those examples of how blurred the line between commentary and defamation can become. What one person considers an opinion, another might see as a damaging accusation. And when emotions run high, words can cut deep. According to reports, Melody had allegedly expressed that she felt uncomfortable with certain things the blogger had done. She also allegedly said she didn't like how children were being featured in some of his videos. She even mentioned that if there were mandated reporters watching, they should take note. The blogger took that as a serious accusation, saying that her comments caused people to reach out to his job and led to a loss of income from there. The lawsuit was filed. But it didn't go the way he hoped. Melody's win isn't just about the legal victory, it's also symbolic. It shows how, despite all the online noise, the law requires proof, not feelings. You can't just claim defamation because someone said something negative about you. You have to show that they lied and that their words caused real damage. And in this case, the judge didn't see enough to back that up. So, Melody's name is cleared in this legal matter, and the chapter seems to be closing, but the story doesn't end there, because the internet always has something to say. Fans have been reacting to the news with a mix of relief, celebration, and reflection. Many of Melody's supporters are overjoyed. To them, this is justice. It's a moment where someone who's been constantly attacked online finally gets a win. Melody has been through a lot, from her public divorce from Martel Holt, to custody battles, to constant social media criticism. To see her walk out of this situation victorious feels like a breath of fresh air to those who have watched her endure so much. On the other hand, some people feel differently. There are viewers who believe that the blogger was simply exercising his free speech and that the lawsuit represented his right to protect his name. They argue that people should be careful when speaking publicly about others, especially if those comments can affect someone's livelihood. In their eyes, this loss is a setback for independent voices online. But even though supporters have to admit defamation law is strict, and without strong evidence, it's nearly impossible to win. One thing that stands out in all this is the lesson about online boundaries. The digital world has blurred the line between public and private life. Bloggers, influencers, and reality stars all share the same virtual space, and the relationships between them can get complicated. One moment they're working together, the next they're on opposite sides of a lawsuit. What happened between Melody and the blogger shows just how fast things can escalate. What starts as a disagreement can turn into months of legal trouble, money spent on lawyers, and emotional exhaustion. It's also a reminder that when it comes to lawsuits, not everything is as simple as it looks. Even though the blogger sued for $6,000, the emotional and financial costs were likely much higher for both sides. Time, stress, and reputation are on the line. For Melody, this case could have affected her image as a businesswoman and public figure. For the blogger, it could have affected his credibility and audience trust. Both had something to lose, and when you think about it, nobody really wins when things reach that point except maybe the lawyers. Still, Melody's victory is meaningful because it represents resilience. She's been through so much in recent years: public scrutiny, legal battles, and personal struggles. Yet, she continues to rise above it all. Every time people expect her to crumble, she finds a way to stand tall. This court win is another example of that strength. It's not just about defeating a blogger in court. It's about reclaiming her peace, setting boundaries, and reminding people that there's a limit to how far they can go when speaking on someone else's name. In the midst of the celebration, some fans also brought up something interesting. Melody once hinted at the possibility of countersuing. It's unclear whether she will actually go down that path, but the idea itself speaks volumes. It shows that she's not afraid to protect herself when she feels wronged. Whether or not she takes further legal action remains to be seen, but right now, she has the upper hand. As for the blogger, there's also talk about whether he plans to appeal the decision. Losing a lawsuit can be disappointing, but appeals are always an option. However, appeals can also be costly, and unless there's new evidence, they rarely change the outcome. It's unclear whether he will move forward with that or simply let the matter rest. Some fans hope he does move on, focusing on his content and leaving the court battles behind. Others think he should fight for what he believes in. But one thing is for sure, this case has become a lesson for everyone watching. Online drama may get clicks, but courtrooms are a different world. The rules are strict, the evidence must be solid, and judges don't care about opinions or emotions. They care about facts. And in this situation, the facts weren't strong enough to prove defamation. That's why so many similar cases end the same way, dismissed or ruled in favor of the defendant. It's a reminder that before you file a lawsuit, you better have more than just screenshots and feelings. This case also exposes the toxic side of social media feuds. When people get too caught up in drama, they forget that behind the screen are real people, people with families, businesses, and reputations. What starts as entertainment can turn into real harm. And when the harm becomes too much, the courtroom becomes the next battleground. But as we've seen, that route doesn't always lead to justice. Sometimes it just leads to more division and wasted energy. Melody's win has sparked a wave of conversations about accountability. Some viewers say it's a sign that bloggers and content creators need to be more careful about what they say. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. Others argue that public figures also have to understand that criticism comes with fame. But the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Everyone has a responsibility to be truthful, fair, and respectful, whether they're on TV or behind a camera. As the dust settles, what's next for Melody Shari? For now, it looks like she's focused on moving forward. She's been working hard on her businesses, her music, and her personal peace. She's made it clear over time that she doesn't want to dwell on negativity or give energy to online drama. And after this legal win, she has every reason to focus on positivity. For her, this is probably not just a legal win, it's an emotional one. It's proof that standing up for yourself pays off. The fans, as always, have plenty to say. Social media is filled with congratulations, clapping emojis, and people cheering her on. Many say it's about time she got some good news after all the stress she's endured. Others see it as karma, that after being unfairly targeted, she finally got her justice. But some, of course, are skeptical. They want to see the actual documents, the judge's order, and the final ruling before celebrating. That's typical of the internet. People want receipts. Still, the consensus is clear. Melody's name is cleared, and she's walking away unbothered. This whole ordeal might also influence other cast members and bloggers connected to Love and Marriage, Huntsville. The community has been filled with feuds, leaks, and messy exchanges for years now. Maybe this ruling will make some people think twice before taking things too far. Maybe it will serve as a reminder that not everything needs to turn into a court case. Sometimes silence is the best answer. At the end of the day, this was never just about money or fame, it was about dignity. Melody defended her right to speak her truth, and the court found no wrongdoing on her part. The blogger, though disappointed, now has a chance to rebuild and refocus. Perhaps this will be a turning point for everyone involved. The online world moves fast. Today's headline is tomorrow's memory. But this case will linger for a while because it represents a larger issue, the fine line between expression and defamation, between opinion and accusation, between content and consequence. For those watching from the sidelines, it's a lesson in how quickly the internet can turn serious, and how important it is to think before speaking. As for Melody, she walks away with her head high. Victorious, composed, and undoubtedly more cautious about who she engages with in the future. This win isn't just about her name on a court document, it's about her reputation, her peace, and her right to move forward without false claims hanging over her. For a woman who's faced public heartbreak, betrayal, and constant scrutiny, this victory is another reminder of her resilience. So as the news spreads and the debates continue, one thing is clear: Melody Shari has once again shown that she's more than just a reality star. She's a fighter, a survivor, and now, legally vindicated. The case is closed, the ruling is made, and the message is simple: you can try to tear her down, but she'll always rise again.